for the grade 2 spelling list. And Time is a magazine. Okay, so it used to be before websites and things like that, people would read magazines much more than they do today. And so this Time magazine is a famous magazine, and Time for Kids means that this famous magazine has made a special issue just for children. And you can see here from the title, it helps you predict what's going to be coming forward, helping planet Earth. Okay, so the kids seem to be having fun doing that. Let's go to page 82. We see the vocabulary box, and conservation. That's a word that can mean a couple of things, but usually in terms of the planet, we're trying to keep the land in a way that animals can live their normal lives. Like if we start building houses and roads, then that makes it difficult for the animals to live. And so we want to conserve the land that they live on, and that can be called conservation. Remains, let's read and see what that comes up with. Trouble, well, we all know trouble. Extinct, that is not good because there's no coming back from extinct. If an animal becomes extinct, that means they are no longer part of our planet. And hardest, let's just take a look at the reading passage and let's see. Let's start with prairie problem. I'm not sure what I was thinking about there. Prairie problem. And it starts with, we really do not have a lot of time left to save the prairie, says Ron Cole. A prairie is a large, flat area covered with grasses. Prairies have very few trees. Prairies once stretched across the middle part of the United States and Canada. Today, most of that land is covered with farms and towns instead of grasses. Ron Cole belongs to a conservation group that teaches people to take better care of the prairie. Their goal is to protect the prairie land that remains, that will help the plants and animals that live there. And so this is also a Canadian problem with the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. The prairie land you see here is South Dakota, and that is part of the same prairie area as in Canada. And the magazine actually gives the picture of, did it say he was a scientist? It doesn't say, but he's trying to protect the land for animals like this fellow up here. So next page. Be careful, we're almost gone. All right, at first I thought, ooh, is that about human beings? But no, there's a lot of human beings. Let's see who they're talking about with that heading. Experts warn us that many animals on our planet are in trouble. More than 1,000 animal species are endangered. That means they may disappear forever and become extinct. It is natural for some plants and animals to become extinct, but now humans are causing more living things to become extinct than ever before. As people cut down forests, mow down prairies, or move into deserts, plants and wild animals get pushed out. Protecting endangered species is one of the hardest jobs people face. The good news is that people are working to solve this problem before it gets worse. All right, so really important, these three paragraphs. And here, I know the bird doesn't look too impressive here. The California condor is an endangered species. I played on a hockey team. We called ourselves the Condors. And so the condor is sort of like an eagle. It's a very impressive bird. And in this chart here, we can check out the information on endangered animals. And you can see about amphibians, animals that live in water and on the land. About 30 species are endangered, meaning they may disappear soon. Insects, there's about 50 different species. Fish, about 130 different species. Birds, about 275 species. And mammals, about 350 species. And we have to remember this was written, I think, about 8 years ago. So these numbers could have changed. So that would be an interesting search topic. And it says find out more about endangered animals at macmillanmh.com. So we don't have login information, so I'm afraid you would just have to do your own research online to find out what the endangered animals numbers look like now. Okay, real world reading, a way to help planet Earth. First of all, this is a nonfiction article. That's the genre. Genre is type. It's nonfiction. It gives information about real people, things, or events. It asks questions, and then it's a description. So when you ask a question, you give a description. A description gives information about what something is like. And just your eye is automatically drawn to this plastic. And to go with that picture is plastic bottles are piled high at recycling centers. These are called captions. Okay, so the good news is this is a recycling center. The bad news is this is a ton of plastic. And as a kid, I never used so much plastic, not the way we do today. But that's a different story. A way to help planet Earth. What can everyone do to help keep Earth clean? And that's a great question because they're not saying what can scientists do. They're saying everyone, and that means kids, it means adults like me, it means everyone on the planet to help keep our Earth clean. Keeping Earth healthy is an important job. That's what environmental conservation is all about. Keeping Earth healthy. Environmental conservation, keeping Earth healthy. People who do that job are working to keep the air, land, and water clean. They are also working to keep endangered plants and animals from becoming extinct. So I just noticed that they included plants as well. One of the hardest jobs is solving the problem of trash. The trouble with trash is that it keeps piling up. We could run out of places to put it. A lot of our trash comes from soda, Soda, juice, water, shampoo, these all come in plastic bottles. Too much plastic is one of our worst trash problems. When a plastic bottle becomes trash, it remains trash for hundreds of years. That's because plastic doesn't change much as it gets old. Is there a better way to deal with plastic? Yes, we can recycle it. Now, I have a different thought. Is there a better way to deal with plastic? Yes, make it like 1970, where every pop bottle you had was in a glass bottle and you had to return it when you were done drinking the pop. So I say recycling is good, but don't make it in the first place. When we recycle, we take something that's been used and turn it into something new. An old plastic bottle can stay old and become trash, or that old plastic bottle can be recycled and become something new. I do know that plastic like this can be used to actually make clothing and other interesting things like that. So here they're just showing Uh, Maybe mom and the boy are sorting the recycling. These kids are taking the time instead of, just throwing it in the garbage. They look for the blue bin and put it in the recycling. And this young man is taking the recycling probably to the side of the road to be picked up. So the caption is people recycle plastic and glass at home and at school. Okay, so maybe it's a teacher with that kid. So page 86. First of all, this looks really interesting. So I'm going to go, and it's numbered. So that's called a sequence. So let's do number 1. Plastic bottles are separated from other trash. Sanitation trucks, also known as garbage trucks, collect the recyclables. Plastics are taken to a recycling center. Bottles are crushed into small pieces. And then a factory can turn recycled plastics into something new and useful. So here you see a playground. And we used to have this at Dorset Park, this yellow thing where kids would run across. But I guess too many people got owies, and so they had to take it down. So now we have a real simple playground with things that at least you won't get hurt. Here's how it works. People save their plastic bottles. A special recycling truck picks the bottles up and takes them to the recycling center. Here, the bottles are crushed into small pieces. Then the small pieces of plastic are melted down. The melted plastic is sent to a factory. At the factory, the old plastic is made into something new. It may become a new bottle, or maybe a new rug. It may become a backpack, or maybe even a slide at a playground. Page 87. So this gentleman, a lot of plastic nearby. So let's see what it says here. A teacher and students visit a recycling center. So the teacher has a field trip, and they've gone to the recycling center. And here you can see the other part of the playground that was cut off from the other page. Sometimes there's not much kids can do to help solve our planet's problems, but kids can do a lot about trash. Recycling is one way all people, young and old, can make a big difference. And then this has become a logo or a symbol of the recycling process. And just because I've heard it so often, I know the 3 R's are reduce, reuse, and recycle. So think and compare. Why is plastic trash a problem? It just lasts forever. It lasts forever. It gets into our oceans. It's terrible. Describe what the earth would look like without recycling. A lot of garbage, a lot of animal homes and plant homes would be not great places for those plants and animals. Number 3, besides recycling plastic, what does your community do to help keep the earth clean? My family, we drive a car that is partly electric, so it doesn't use very much gasoline, so it doesn't pollute the atmosphere as much. And it's a small thing, but it does help. Number 4, prairies are smaller. Some animals are endangered, and too much plastic is being thrown away. How have humans caused these problems? That's a big question, kids. And that's not one for grade 2 students. That's one for adults. It is, how have we caused these problems? Because we want everything so convenient and simple. It's now it's too much. When we bought milk when I was a kid, it came in these plastic containers, but you could use them probably 100,000, a million times, and you'd bring them to the store and then they'd clean them, and they'd use them again, and they'd use them again, and they'd use them again. And so we always had the same milk jugs, and they were always clean. Our pop was in a glass bottle. glass is perfect. When you break glass, it's like sand. So we've become, I don't want to use the word LAZY, but if you know how to spell, I think a lot of us on this planet have become LAZY. And we want things to be really easy for us. And really, we're not taking enough time to appreciate our planet. But that's beginning to change. And you guys, young people, are going to be a big part of that. So let's see what we have next. Water troubles. Test strategy. Right there. The answer is right there on the page. Skim for clues to find the answer. Sometimes you don't have time to read the whole reading passage, but you can skim, which kind of means just kind of look through quickly and look for clues to find the right answer. So I see these boys at the bottom, and it looks like they've gotten some clean water. These boys in Guatemala are enjoying clean water from a tap for the first time. Probably from a tap because the rivers have become polluted, and now they need some machines to clean the water. But yeah, that's what I did when I was a kid. Is I turned the tap on, I'd cup my hands together, and I would just drink from my hands. And I didn't even use a cup, so I don't know. Let's take a listen to water troubles. Cornelia Gogu lives in Romania. That's in Europe. Last year, her school did not have clean water to drink. The water pipes were old and rusty. Workers from several countries replaced the pipes, so Cornelia's school now has clean water. Cornelia doesn't take water for granted, but many people do. In the United States, we can just turn on a faucet to get clean water. It isn't that easy in other countries. Most of the earth is covered with water, but only a small amount is safe to drink. Some places receive little rainfall, so there isn't enough water to grow crops. In other places, the water is so dirty that it is not safe to drink. Groups such as the United Nations are working to solve these problems. People need to save water so that everyone has water to drink. United Nations is sort of a group of all the different countries in the world, and they gather in New York City and they work on these sorts of problems. Okay, let's go on. Directions. Answer the questions. Why is some water not safe to drink? Well, I think, is it because it comes from rain? It gets too old, it is too dirty, it does not taste good. C is the correct answer. It gets too dirty. It's not healthy to drink. Sometimes water doesn't taste good, but it's actually fine for your body. But that also can be a clue that maybe something is not right. If it doesn't taste good, check with an adult to make sure that it is safe to drink. Why should you save water? Keep water clean to help birds and animals so there is enough water to swim in, so everyone has enough water to drink. I think D is the main answer, but all of them are great answers. Keep the water clean. Clean water helps birds and animals. I love swimming in water. Make sure you take your swimming lessons. Number 3, why don't some places have enough water? There are too few people? No, that's not it. They receive little rainfall? That sounds about right. There is too much rain? No, that would mean you'd have lots of water. There are too many crops? B makes the most sense. Describe what happened to the water at Cornelia Gogu's school. It became dirty because the pipes got old and rusty, and that made the water dirty, so they had to replace all the pipes. What could you and your family do to help save water? Don't use it. Like, turn off the tap when you're not using it. You don't need to take a 30-minute shower. you just take a quick shower, get yourself clean, get yourself out of there. Um, you can actually, I know my neighbor collects rainwater, and then he uses that in his garden instead of using water from the tap. So there's a few different things that your family can do to keep our water clean. Okay, and there's a stop sign. Ah! And then there's writing. Write to a prompt in three or four paragraphs. Persuade people that they need to take care of the earth. And then this gentleman has this sticky note. I told my main idea at the beginning of the essay. Okay, so when it's more than one paragraph, if it's 2, 3, or 4 paragraphs, we can start calling it an essay. Then I use details to support it. Say the main idea, use details to support it. I've said that at least 200 times in class. All right, so this is what the boy said. First, you need a good title. We all need the earth. He's absolutely right. We all need the earth. Earth has many resources. Earth has many things on it. We have land, we have water, we have air. We need to take care of these parts of Earth. We need to keep them clean. Okay, so he's saying the main idea, keep the planet clean. I would add the idea that we need to keep it clean for future people. It's not fair that we use the earth, make it polluted, and then we go, okay, now it's yours. So I would add that. Farmers use land to grow crops. If we put poison in the ground, crops will not grow. If we put buildings on the land, there will be no farms. We need to save land. So protect the land, let the farmers grow their crops, and if we put poison out there, we're not going to have healthy crops. We all need water. We drink it and use it to stay clean, but people waste water. If we run out of water, we cannot live. True enough. We have to take care of the air too. We need clean air to breathe. If we stop driving cars so much, the air will be cleaner. Oh, I do that. Yay for me. We all of us need to save Earth's resources. Okay, your writing prompt. Write an essay telling people to take care of our environment. Suggest some things that they can do to keep our land and water clean. Your essay should be 3 to 4 paragraphs long and include reasons to support your opinion. Here's a writer's checklist. Think about your purpose for writing. You're trying to persuade people to treat our planet, to keep it clean. Form an opinion about the topic. Like, do you think, yeah, we really should keep it clean for the people that come in the future? Or do you think, hey man, it's all about me. As long as everything's good during my life, who cares about the rest of the people? So form an opinion, and it'll affect your writing. Use reasons to support your opinion. Don't just go, we need to keep the earth clean just because we do. Well, that's not a reason. That's like, I'm too lazy to think about it. Be sure your ideas are logical. Be sure your ideas make sense. Make sure that they are organized. And that, my dear students, is the end of the reading passage for grade 2. And I'm so glad I found this book and get to read it for you. And so I'm going to leave it here. Grade 2s, a couple of you have done this already. Do some writing. And, like I say, knock my socks off. I mean, remember, your purpose for writing is to make people think about what you say. And if you don't make your writing interesting, they're just going to fall asleep and go, oh, great, some other kid who's not willing to work to make some good writing. Anyways, enough from me. I'm going to say toodles and put this up on the YouTube channel. All right, guys, toodles.